Hello YouTube, my name is Jared. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to try and install a Grohe kitchen faucet. I think the model number is a K7. This is the box for it here. And basically I'll be replacing this guy right here, which is an older model Grohe from probably the 80s, which is when this house was built or last remodeled. As you can see, it looks a little outdated. If you're interested, this is the type of thing you probably want to replace instead of doing a full remodel of your kitchen. Refreshing your sink is usually a nice touch. So we're going to get started today, and hopefully the project won't be too long. One of the things before I show you this is kind of show you the tool sets that I'll be using. You really just need these three items, generally speaking, when you are unscrewing some water lines and then of course putting the new one in. What you see is a wrench here, another wrench here, and what's called Teflon tape. This is what you wrap around the actual threads of the water lines to prevent leakage. I got this one from Home Depot. I think it's probably like $20. It's a DeWalt. If you can read the serial number there, if you want to get the exact one, something DWH, what is that? T74427, literally $20-something. It's adjustable. You press this button, you slide down. It can grab a bunch of different size nuts. Same with this one. You want kind of this, I don't know what you call this thing, or some kind of wrench where you can adjust the thing. So I can grab, again, multiple different sizes. I hold this one. Usually I hold this one to hold the nut, and the other one I can use to turn something with. The other thing you'll probably want to have is towels underneath so that you can crawl under here just like every plumber does. They're usually, their back is on the floor of the kitchen, or sorry, of this sink bottom here. I've already started detaching some things here, but I'll show you later on kind of how to do this. Generally, every faucet's a little bit different. This one's kind of unique. I have to figure it out here. I think this one requires me to take things up from the top and remove this, and there's some kind of screw that's actually screwing in rather than a locking nut from the bottom, which is kind of weird. So anyways, that's about it for this. Let me switch over to the model here that I'll be installing today. Alright, so let's open the box for the Grohe K7. It's a pretty nice one. It's I bought it on Amazon. It was about, I think, $500-something. Kind of went all out on it. It's a nice unit. I picked a chrome finish, and as you can see, it's a pretty heavy, I don't know, industrial, professional type. The big arching neck here, and then of course a spout that I'll be assembling down here. These are the instructions underneath. I believe it is, let me fold this back up. Let's see here. Well, if I had another hand here, underneath is just the tool, the actual hardware to install it. So okay, let's switch it back to trying to install this sucker. All right, so we're back. I just figured out how to take this old Grohe unit off. I had to take off the spout, yank the sucker off, and there is some kind of nut that I can attach my wrench to, and I just basically turn, and that will unlock the bottom part. So this is a type where you have to take out from the top. Really strange. Here's the aftermath of basically I had to pull this portion up and expose this locking nut, as I pointed out earlier, and basically I had to turn to unlock this thing called a C-clamp, which you'll see in the new Grohe that's used to lock things, but this one's done from the top down versus the bottom up. So you can see every faucet usually has a rubber gasket here, just so that any water that lands here doesn't go down your sink. So that's it, and we're going to go back down underneath to disconnect the water lines. Alright, I managed to take out the entire unit here, as you can see in the sink, along with some paper towels to clean off my hand. That's the full unit right there, the old one. And what you should be left with is this hole, so you can put the new one in. What you're going to do is you're going to clean this up, because this new one might not fully cover the lopsidedness installation of the previous model. So scrub this, clean this up nicely, and then we'll begin the installation of the new Grohe K7. Okay, as you can see, I've managed to take apart the top part already, but the real important step that's going to be the same for everyone here is going to be removing the hot and the cold water lines here. And this tube you're looking at right here, if you see in the video, is just the extra extended hose that's part of the faucet head. So you can ignore this one in this particular installation. What everyone will have are these two that you're going to need to disconnect. So the way this sink is done is it looks like there's a middle coupler that's connecting the water line from the house into the kitchen. Looks like one end is larger than the other, so they needed some kind of coupler with a adapter from larger thread to a smaller thread. So I'm going to remove this, and hopefully the new unit will have something big like this. We'll see. Okay, before we do any kind of work, basically what you have to do is always turn these two valves in your wall underneath your sink to the off position, which means cranking them clockwise until they are snugly tight and turned off before you want to start disconnecting these lines here. One thing to mention before you do this, I started loosening this, is before you do any kind of loosening of water lines, you'll want to put a towel underneath or a bucket to catch the water that's going to come down, just because you have remaining water in these lines here. So always put stuff down there so that you don't have to worry about wiping water later on and wiping the mess. Alright, I've taken out the new kitchen faucet, the Grohe K7. This is what was in the box, the actual unit itself with the hot and water lines, as you can see here, with its two connectors. Instruction manual. These are what basically goes underneath to secure it. It's kind of, think of it like a big flange of some kind. I don't know if that's the proper term. This is usually the C-ring here that if you look at it, it's basically the two water lines kind of go into these grooves on each side of that. And here's the metal version of that. And then of course this is what will secure this piece in. It all makes sense later on. This is obviously the faucet that will connect to that, the faucet head. Not sure what this is quite yet until I read the instructions, but so just wanted to show you the unit. It is very large, actually. I didn't think it would be that large, but it'll be awesome. Okay, here, I just wanted to show you the core piece of information you'll want to pay special attention to. This is the basic premise here. This is pretty much the only diagram you're probably going to need. Basically, you're going to install the actual device unit from the top of the counter, and you can see this is that weird Superman shaped flange thing I was pointing out. It goes underneath like this, and then you can see there's the metal and the rubber gasket version of the C-shaped device here, which is this thing, and you'll see that these two basically goes together. I believe it's, yeah, I'll show you in a second here. And then basically this secures the screw on the other side of the faucet, which will be, if you look at here, inside this bronze brass color thing here, this piece right here is going to connect into that, basically, right? Obviously with this C-shaped, I don't know what you call this, washer of some kind that will attach there. And the reason it's shaped like this is to accommodate the piping. Right, so the middle hole is where this bronze screw goes through, and then the arching two sides here will allow space for your water lines. So that's it, and I will show you in a second how that's done. Alright, so I just wanted to show real quick how this is done. Again, if you're wondering which direction this generally is taking, is if you look closely at this piece, on this side where it's puffy and beveled up versus this side that's kind of sunken in, you're going to want to face this way, and you see that there's a dipped edge along here, and that's where you're going to want this to slide in, right? Because if you look at the rubber piece carefully here, there are little tabs. I'm not sure the video is going to show. There's little tabs that help hold the metal one in place. So what you do is you slide it in, and let me slide it in here. See? Now that's held, right? So later on what you do is this is going to be up against the countertop, the rubber side. So you have a nice seal, waterproof seal, and it provides some friction for you so that you don't end up you know, moving too much around and then end up you know, shifting the sink around as you're tightening. I wanted to show this end of the bottom of the actual sink, the faucet here. What you're going to need to do is there's this O-ring here. If you remember from the instructions I showed earlier, this O-ring will actually go into the groove here. There's an actual groove here, and so you're going to slide it through these water lines, so loop it through, and then you're going to bring it all the way up, and you're going to kind of just put it resting there. It's going to be loose right now, which is going to be fine. Generally, this is probably where you're going to want a second person to help you out, since this is such a big device or big unit, you're going to want someone to hold it from the top while you're at the bottom of the sink to you basically mount the mounting hardware. Alright, so let's get started. As you can see, this is a huge unit here. So you're going to want to hold this here. I'm going to slide the pipes through the water lines. Just put it through the hole. You can see the rubber O-ring here. You want to make sure that it's neatly aligned in the groove before you rest. You're going to align where you want it to be placed, nice and even into the thing, and this is where it's probably going to be useful to have someone above the sink holding this while you're beneath. Okay, so you can see from the bottom, these are the tubes. I'm going to start sliding the washers in so you can take a look. I can only hold one hand, so. Okay, so you can see how the washer works, right? So you place the white piece that looks like a Superman thing, and then you thread this rubber and metal washer through, and then you put this screw piece here. And now what I'm doing is I'm just going to keep screwing this in with my hand here, by hand. And as you can see, you got a long ways to go. Okay, so as you can see, I finished screwing it in. You can see how that white plastic piece is serving as kind of a base, a wider base for that C-shaped washer-looking thing to actually hold the sink. The bronze piece is what I just screwed in. If you look kind of, I'll see if I can pivot the camera here. If it shows, and you can see what that looks like basically. So the two water lines are out. So that's pretty much it, at least for securing it. The next step is really, if you want, you can either tighten this further, but I kind of prefer not to tighten it all the way. I only tighten it as firm as I can by hand for now, in case I need to go back up above the countertop and readjust the turning or the angle or whatnot of the actual faucet in case I made it crooked. What I'm going to do next is really secure these water lines here. Okay, so I'm about to connect these lines together here, but if you remember what I mentioned earlier in the video is I mentioned Teflon tape. Basically it's sold in this kind of packaging. What you want to do is you push through and you open this up and you see it's a very white, thin kind of tape, and all you're doing is you're going to wrap this tape around the threads of these fittings. And what you want to do and make sure is that you wrap it around in such a way that when you tighten the other nut over something that it will not unwind it. So hard to describe, but basically best thing to do is always wrap it so that it is clockwise so that the next thing that goes over it will also just help secure it more rather than unraveling the tape over the thread. So I'm going to do that now. So you can see here, I'm going to start, and again, clockwise, because the thing that will attach to it will not strip it this way. And then when you feel like you're done, you just yank it, and it pretty much rips easily. And what you have is a Teflon tape coated thread. This one is the hot line, so this particular one is the hot line here. You can't see it in the video, but there is that red tape that's indicating it. So I'm going to put it on and start at least doing it by hand first, and then I'll tighten it by the wrench a little bit. Be careful not to over tighten these things because they're just simple water lines. There's not a whole lot of high pressure here to over crank these things and destroy it potentially, or strip it and cause damage here. So I'm going to start with at least hand tightening it for now. As you can see, the Teflon tape did not unravel. This helps provide a secure line. This side, I'm hoping, it looks like they didn't add any Teflon tape, which is bad. Maybe I might later on take this apart and put some Teflon tape there just to help prevent any leaks. So far there isn't any, so maybe I might not, but yeah. So I'm going to do the same on the cold line so you can see how that works. Actually, yeah, it's going to be the same repeat process here. So here I am doing the same thing on the cold water line. You want to wrap it around. And most generally speaking, a couple turns is more than enough. You don't want to do too much because then it makes it very hard to put the next, put the bolt or whatever you need to put over this thing, or the nut over this. There you have it. So nicely coated, as you can see. Just make sure you move the extra little bits that get torn when you pull this thing apart. Now this is the cold line, and I want to connect the cold line to it again by hand, and then maybe tighten with a wrench later on just to get a little bit more snug. But usually hand tightening is generally good enough, but I'll do an extra maybe quarter turn at the most just to get a nice snug watertight fit. There we go. And again with the wrenches I was showing you earlier, so pretty simple. Let me open this up, make sure it fits here, tighten it down. So now I got one on this guy, and then I just use this guy to actually tighten it. So again, clockwise on this guy to tighten. And like I said, quarter turn at the most, it's more than good enough. Same with this guy, doing the same thing over here. And a little bit hard here. Get it out. Tighten, hold. Grab this guy. Just a quarter turn. That's it. Next thing you'll want to do is basically slowly turn on your water. You want to do it slow just in case you didn't tighten these things properly. Alright, you never know. Alright, I'm going to start turning this on here just a little bit at a time. So let me start with actually the cold instead. I don't want hot water coming out at me. So I'll turn it on slowly. As you can see, looks like there's some leakage at the mouth of this one since I was moving it. See, that's exactly why we do this slow. So this nut here was loosened a little bit when I was moving it around, so I saw some water come out. So that's exactly good reason why we always start slow. So let me tighten this guy a little bit more. There we go. Now let's try it again. Slowly. Nice. No noise. There we go. Now I'm going to do the same for this one. Now for the cold water. Okay. no leaks. Continue opening a little more. And we're good. So now I'm back at the top here, and you see how that looks so far. I haven't installed the full tip of the spout thing yet. I want to make sure that this works first of all. So I'm going to turn it on slowly here. Ah, nice. Close it. Perfect, no leaks at all. So let's install the remaining piece here. Okay, so the remaining bit, like I mentioned, is just the spout. So it looks like it's just a simple screw in to this. So let's just do that. Really simple. And don't over tighten it. And I think we are good. Let's test this out. And this is where I assume it would mount to here. Let me just make sure I turn on the water first before I do anything here. There we go. Let's test this button. I think I have to do more. There we go. There we go. Works perfectly. And one of the cool things, of course, it automatically has a, as you can see, a little holder so that we can place it, I believe, like maybe like this. Ta-da! Very nice. Alright, so this is the finished installation. As you can see, it literally took me less than half an hour. I think if you knew how to dismantle your old one, if you were the original installer, it probably was super easy. I had to kind of figure it out. That was the most time-consuming part. Really, as long as you have one extra helper to hold this in place at the top while you're at the bottom, it'd be easier. On a normal, let's say a bathroom kitchen or a bathroom sink, you can hold one with one hand and then do the other with your other hand underneath, and you can reach. But since this is so massive, it's very hard to have one hand hold this whole thing while trying to have leverage under the sink. But as you can see, it is a beautiful unit. Check out the description. I'll have links to Amazon to purchase the same model. This is, again, the Grohe K7. I think it's called a semi-pro line. It looks beautiful. This one's in chrome finish. Looks super, super nice. Super a great finish. The one thing I love about all Grohe faucets are it's just buttery smooth levers here. And I think they're ceramic parts, so they last a very long time. So as you can see, it's updated this quite well. Obviously, this is still dated. I'll probably eventually do a full remodel, but I'll definitely keep this unit. It's a beautiful piece here. So super excited. If you like what you saw, subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up, like it, and I'll do more. I'll be also installing some Grohe bathroom fixtures. So for you to check out, definitely check out my channel. We're gonna have a lot more do-it-yourself stuff. Again, this was super easy. I just had 3 things I need to install this: 2 wrenches and Teflon tape and just a second set of hands. That was it. And it was less than 30 minutes of install. All right, thank you.